Welcome to the very first Level Up Learning session. We're excited for this new initiative and grateful for the opportunity to get our markets together to collaborate, learn, and grow. Today's topics, we will be covering the 4 levels of learning to mastery, and by the end of this training, you will learn more about your specific learning style and how it can be applied at UFIT gyms and in your career. With the launch of Level Up Learning, it's important for everyone in this room to understand how each of us learn and how we can collaborate together to be the best versions of ourselves. This quiz will allow your training supervisor to have more insight as to how we can accommodate your learning needs when they visit your location. If everyone can please grab their phones and scan the QR code on the screen, we can get started. Trainers, please pause this video so that you can take the quiz and discuss your results. Each market is filled with some veteran team members and new team members, and we feel that it's appropriate to take a few minutes to discuss the 4 levels of learning so that we are all in the right frame of mind as we begin our training sessions. This is the foundation to understand how your brain learns and forms habits. As salespeople, this is a hack to learn our products quicker and make it easier to recall the information and disseminate it back to our prospects. From an operations standpoint, this process allows you to master the processes so you can work more efficiently. And from a human being standpoint, this helps you understand how your brain learns. So whether you stay at UFIT forever or move on to different endeavors, understanding this process can elevate the way that you take on future tasks and tackle learning a new subject. You can be sitting in front of an expert or someone who's been working really hard at mastering something, and your brain just says, "Oh, I already know that," and you switch it off. This is the most dangerous thing we can say because it limits our ability to increase our knowledge. Of course, there's things out there that we inherently ingrained, something such as brushing your teeth or walking in a straight line. But if you close your mind off to the opportunity to learn something new, you can't grow. Let's take something as mundane as brushing your teeth. If there was a dentist with 40 years of experience that says, "Let me show you how to brush your teeth," your immediate response is, "I already know how to brush my teeth." You may miss out on an innovative way to properly brush your teeth and thus save yourself thousands of dollars in dental work down the road. Here are the 4 levels of learning. Unconsciously incompetent. You don't know. In fact, you don't even know that you don't know. It means nothing to you. You have no relevance to the material at all. An example of this would be driving a car. At 6 months old, you don't know how to drive a car. In fact, you don't know that you're supposed to drive a car. You are unconsciously incompetent. This could be you starting at UFIT on day 1. Consciously incompetent. You know, don't know. At this level, you feel like a dummy. You see everyone else getting it, and you simply don't. Using our driving example, this is where you start learning how to drive. You have to worry about turn signals, mirrors, merging. God forbid you have to learn how to drive a manual or worry about a clutch and shifting gears. Once you're done and close that car door, you're flustered and entering into the "screw this, I'm never going to learn this" phase. This phase for you may be a sales training, learning a new product or service that we offer here at UFIT, or making your first attempt at a sales call. Consciously competent. You know it. You have to work hard every single time to make it work, but you do it and you know it. With our driving analogy, this is where you figured out how to merge onto the highway, you've successfully parked, and you're confident in taking that driving test. This phase at UFIT may be when you're ready to tackle those sales calls because you've already gotten out all of your jitters when you practiced. Unconsciously competent. You can do it. In fact, it's so easy, you don't even need to think about it. You achieved mastery of the system. Continuing with our driving analogy, this is where you can eat an ice cream cone in one hand, reach back and pick up the toy that your child dropped in the back seat, all while holding a conversation with your spouse in the passenger seat and driving down the highway. For some of you, this may be like understanding and knowing the ins and outs of DataTrack, and it just has become second nature to you. You've mastered the processes so much that you can multitask while unconsciously performing the process. In this phase for a salesperson, this can be overcoming common objections with ease, finding or exposing hot buttons, and expertly walking the potential member through the sales process. This also includes nurturing the prospect and preparing to close the membership. You can easily do this because you've heard all the objectives before. You can navigate through them and use the hot buttons you've uncovered to persuade the prospect to buy from you without them even knowing that it happened. Let's talk about the second step. When we're trying to learn a new skill, we start by not knowing that we don't know. Then we try to learn and realize that we stink at it. It's not until we start to get some knowledge and practice behind the skill that we can start to feel more comfortable with it. Let's think about it for a minute. Do you know what step we start to get frustrated and negative emotions start to pop up? That's right, step number 2. This is where the negative emotions pop up. The good news is that this is where the learning also happens. It's at this stage where your brain is trained at a cellular level by reinforcement. If you learn or train on a topic over and over again with consistency, aka a habit, your brain forms neural pathways, called ganglia, for each new learned instance, and then the myelin layers form a sheath and concretes the pathway through reinforcement, repetition, habit creation. This happens only at step 2. Perform a task, fail, perform a task, fail, over and over again until we master that skill. Step 2 is arguably the most important step, and it's also the most frustrating step. If you are conscious that this will be happening, you can be prepared for it. Instead of being upset that you feel like a dummy, you can welcome it. Here's that awful feeling of not knowing. This may happen 15 times before you get it, or it may only happen once, but at some point it's going to happen, and you need to be prepared and welcome it as part of the process. Embrace the suck, enjoy the grind, because it all leads towards mastery. The keyhole theory is a strategy where you view everything on the other side of the door as a keyhole, as what you want, where you want to be, or where your success lies. The key represents processes, ideas, or strategies that you want to incorporate to get to the other side. If you try to shove in all keys at once, you'll never unlock the door. It's only when you master each step or key that you can unlock the door and one by one getting you to the other side. While this is an extremely simplistic example, it's an important step to mastering anything. Barriers and pitfalls. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Failure to master anything starts by not having a plan. If you continue to try to skip steps, learn too many things at once, or not progressing through the learning, you'll always feel stuck at step number 2, which breeds frustration and negative emotion. Understand this step, ask questions, and ask for help. Doing many things doesn't bring you success. Mastering one thing at a time brings success. We're all susceptible to trying to do too many things at once. Maybe a prospect is yesing us to death or is pushing you through the sales process. If you mirror their emotions instead of sticking to your process, you may have missed red flags, missed opportunities to uncover a hot button issue, or don't even make it to the critical parts of your sales process. This could leave you with the objections at the closing table that you could have overcome during the sales process. Trust the process and move forward one step at a time. Be sure to welcome this process to learning and forming habits. Sometimes it takes 10 tries to get past step 2. Sometimes you cruise past it on the first try. Either way, understand that this is the point of the process that is the most critical for forming neural pathways for learning and forming a new habit. After step 2, you will start to build up those little wins. Think of them as cookies in your mental cookie jar. You can access that cookie jar at any time and pull from those successes and compound them. I may have conveniently forgot to tell you that there's a 5th level. This is where we continue to learn and perfect our craft. This may be new products, new processes, or whole new philosophies. Some will be easier to learn than others because of the foundation you've already set. Either way, you'll have to make the choice of making a step 2 a brief stop or a prolonged stay. We hope that you welcome the feeling of not knowing and understand that it'll soon pass like it did before.